Yes.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Refinement. This is our Monday live, which we're going to do at 10 a.m. every single Monday. I'm pretty excited. It's a lot quieter this week. I apologize for the sound last week. Some people said it was too much gain. The gain was too high, so we turned it down. Got the mic with a little wind guard today, and there's no show going on right now, so it should be a lot quieter. We're gonna do open Q&A. I've got a couple of topics with you to talk over with you guys, and also want to describe my experience having my son last Thursday, Masters Thursday, apparently Houdini's birthday also, so that's exciting. And the second time around, it's very different. I feel like than the first time. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me okay. But it was very different because we had already done it before. This is our second kid. Our other kid, Natalie, is 2 years old. You guys have seen her occasionally on the platform. But it's totally different. Natalie likes her little brother. It was cute when they met for the first time, and the hospital experience was very different this time. I don't know if you guys know. On Thursday, I was here at 8:30, and then my wife said, "They can hear me, okay?" I was here at 8:30, and then setting up a show, and then my wife said, be back around noon, and then we'll go to the hospital together. But then she said, come home now. So then I came home, went to the hospital, got there at 9:30, and my wife wanted an epidural, but it didn't seem like that was a thing because by the time we got checked in to triage, it was 9:50 in the morning. So I texted Tech. I was like, hey, you need to do the calls today. The baby's gonna come soon, so I'm gonna be off. So 9:50, she was at 8 centimeters, and then we moved from triage into the delivery room. When we got there, she was at 9.5 centimeters already, and she was already asking for epidural. And then I did not know what a midwife was, so that was interesting. There was a midwife and a nurse. It was like 10:03 ish at that time, and then they just put an IV in her because you have to do that before getting an epidural, and then my wife was like, "This is weird. Why is it taking so long?" And then, but I guess the midwife already knew there was not time to have the epidural put in, but she didn't want my wife to panic. So then, 10:08, midwife was like, "Hey, we need to start pushing right now. The baby is here, and we'll get the anesthesiologist in here to do the epidural if it's possible." And then by 10:13, we had the baby. So my wife pushed for 5 minutes. It was
Oh,
so
wow. That's so
fast,
fast.
so fast. And the anesthesiologist came at 10:11. And at that point, the baby was already out, coming out. So it was like not obviously possible to do it. And it takes a while to kick in. I think it takes 30 minutes to set it up and 30 minutes for it to kick in.
Yeah.
So that was wild. And then we had, it was a very interesting experience. So hopefully you guys are okay with me sharing this. If you don't like it, we can switch to reselling. But it's just an interesting, different topic that we're talking about. This time we had so much preparedness, like brought everything, including a little gift pack for every nurse. And it was a Starbucks Frappuccino, those glass ones, and like some cookies. And I will tell you for sure they were way nicer to us this time. Because last time I didn't even get a bed, I got a chair to sleep in. And this time it was like I got an actual bed, which was like very surprising. That did not happen the first time. So we gave out the frappuccinos to every single nurse, labor delivery and postpartum. And man, the experience was totally different. And those cost like $2. So that was a pro tip right there. And then this time I got to enjoy it way more because I wasn't panicking as much when the baby was crying because first time parents, that it's intense. So I wanted to ask you guys in the chat a couple things with it. The first one, if there's any nurses living right now or listening right now, I thought this was cool. A nurse said, if it's not charted, it didn't happen. And I thought that was really cool. So they basically monitor mama and baby and check everything along the way. And they literally put it into documentation so you can see what happens. And I think a lot of my reselling recently has been like that. I've been writing down what I'm doing, what I'm planning, getting everything set up. And it's really helped me. But if it's not charted, if it's not scheduled, maybe it didn't happen, right? So you're not sure unless you're actually taking the time to do that. So every single dirty diaper, every single medication, everything was documented. And it was nice being around all professionals at something because sometimes with the reselling, I get like 10 questions in a row, like, what's the least title I need to sell it? What's the least number of pictures I can sell? What's the least I can do to make a sale? And I'm just like, they don't do that when they're sewing you back up after pregnancy. Like, what's the least we can do to put you back together and send you home? They're not like that. They're like, let's just complete the surgery. Let's do this. Let's deliver the baby all the way through. They don't stop in the middle of delivering the baby and check Instagram. Like, they just do the whole thing all the way through. And I don't know if you guys have heard that before, but if it's not charted, it didn't happen. I thought that was really nice. And this time, because I wasn't panicking, I got to enjoy the whole process and look at everything. And it was a very different experience this time. We spent an extra day in the hospital, came back a couple days ago, and I feel very good. I did way, way, way more planning this time. Okay, so today, grandma's coming over to help, and I have essentially today to set up the next 2 weeks. I'm already kind of prepared, but like last time when I had a baby, I was not prepared as much as I am now, and it was way more hectic. So now that I'm a little bit more prepared, it's like I can enjoy the baby process a little bit more. It was interesting. I got to like absorb everything because it's obviously such a big event. I noticed the parking was $10 an hour, $28 for a day, which is that's like a huge jump. $10 per hour,
Yeah.
then 28 for a day, then 30 for 3 days, which I thought, what is that? It's $1 a day after the first day. So I wonder if the majority of their people, someone was saying this in the morning call, the majority of people are there visiting someone in and out. So that's an hour, they get their $10. And then after that, maybe people stay for a day and they don't want to worry about checking their parking. And then after that, maybe people are there for 3 days, like for a delivery or something. So I just thought those time sequences were very strange. And in the beginning, or in the front of the hospital, all those empty spots are just for people to park their car when they're having the baby. Because I just parked my car in front of the hospital when that happened, and we went in. But last time was also COVID, so I was not allowed to leave. This time I was allowed the in and out privileges, and this time it was not as hectic. Last time was kind of scary doing it at that time. Also, even in California, nurses and doctors weren't wearing masks, so I thought times have changed. The first time was like very intense. This time, way, 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 way different. Having a baby post COVID, they even said that starting today, April 10th, in that hospital, visitors don't need to wear masks either. So I was kind of surprised. So very different scenario. It seems like everything's back to normal. I will be taking around probably 2 months off. Actually get paid time off in California now because this is another thing that's important. Why would you want to start a corporation or an LLC versus just a sole proprietorship? If you work for your own company, I'm an employee of Daily Refinement Inc. I'm a W-2 employee. So the W-2 income that comes in, I use that to buy a house, and I also get paid time off through the state. So California does have some perks. So that was interesting. And when you have a set schedule, so for me, I actually upped it. So now we're selling 2,000 items per week. So I'm setting up 4,000 items, getting ready for them to be sold today. And I'm going to come in for like an hour a day maybe to check things out if I want to. But when you're a W-2 employee, I think a good amount to pay yourself is $2 per listing. So I was paying myself 104,000 in the past for working at my company, $2 per item and 1,000 per week, which is $2,000 per week. And I think about these numbers all the time because it's nice actually being done with work. So a lot of people, when you set up your business, they work all day long and they never take a break. For me, once I hit 140 items a day, that's it. I'm ready to go home, do other stuff, and I want everyone to do that. We're actually going to do a couple of events here, hopefully every single Friday. The first Friday of May, I'm doing my first event here. It's going to be, all the events are going to be 10 people because I want to meet with people, chat, have lunch. I want to list 30 items before noon, shipping everything, to show people like, if you're doing reselling and you want the like freedom of working for yourself, you should be done by noon so you could actually enjoy your day. People who talk about working for themselves, but they work 90 hours a week, that doesn't make sense to me because I think you'd have a better life getting a regular job and not being an entrepreneur. So if you're gonna work for yourself, you might as well enjoy it. So I want you to get done by noon, take the rest of the day off, plan stuff, meet up with people. If you're not doing that, then you're just getting a crappy job that's 100 hours a week and getting paid usually way less. So that's my rant. I love being a W-2 employee, working at my own company, and the tax benefits start to make sense at a certain threshold depending on your state. So I only pay self-employment tax on my salary. So that means 18% self-employment tax, which is I think is the same everywhere. I pay on my salary, so I get double taxed. Then at the end of the year, when I get that the distribution, if you decide to take a distribution, I get taxed without self-employment tax on what's left. So when you are a sole proprietor, you get taxed the full amount the 18% self-employment tax. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. I'm not a tax expert. We do have Cheryl Miller in the group, who is our accountant in our Facebook group. You can ask her for professional advice. She can give it to you. But essentially, that's the difference between me working for myself or being a sole proprietor. 99% of people, I don't recommend you start a corporation because it's more expensive. In California alone, I have to pay $800 a year just to be a corporation. Just to be a corporation. There's no other benefits. Just you got to pay because you're in California. So depending on where you live, also if you have employees, I have to pay workers' compensation if I have one employee, which means just me. Even a single person corporation, you got to pay workers' comp for yourself. So it depends on where you are. I recommend that you pick the business size that makes sense for you for where you live. But this has been cool because I've now got to experience this having a baby twice, all the different things, and I feel very different this time. Expected everything. My Fitbit said I got 3 hours of sleep last night, which makes sense. I already knew that was going to happen, so today I'm not feeling really weird, just a little bit sleepy. But I anticipated that because that's what happened last time. Exactly the same as last time. They even look the same. So here, I'm going to show you guys. This is like a weird. My daughter and my son, I feel like they look very similar. I'm going to show you guys the picture. What do you guys, I don't know if they can see. Can you guys see this? The left one is my daughter, Natalie. The right one is my son, Henry. And they look a lot alike, in my opinion. So I don't know what you guys think in the chat. But, it's interesting. Is there questions?
Oh, they were actually, well, many congratulations.
Thank you,
to
everyone.
everybody. And then they were asking about the name.
Oh, the name is Henry. So Henry Lynn. So excited about the baby. It was between Henry and Oliver. We went with Henry. It's Natalie is kind of named after me because Natalie is nativity, and I was born on Christmas, so like nativity Christmas. So Natalie is named after me, and then Henry is my wife's dad's name. So that's where it came from. We wanted, equal representation among the families and the babies, so we went with Henry. Oliver, we just both liked that name. It had no significance. Then we found out that not just us, everybody likes that name because it's the most popular name this year. So I don't know, how does that happen? Like, everyone thinks of the same name in the same year. I don't get it. Like, we wanted the name Natalie Emma, but it was also number one. So
Did you know there's a professional baby name? Like people do it as a profession to name babies because some people don't want to think about it.
that makes sense. So what would you guys charge for a professional naming service? Because that makes sense. It's hard. I think for girls, there was probably like 40 names I was okay with. But for guys, I liked Remington, but my wife hated that. And then, yeah, but I don't know. It's hard to pick a name, so I think I would pay a couple $100 for somebody to narrow it down for us to make it easier because it does take a lot of time picking a name. And then let me know in the chat if you guys have kids, how many kids you have. We're going to just call it 2. I didn't know it was called a vasectomy for the guy, and I think that you can reverse that if you want to have kids later. So if I want to pull Elon Musk and have kids until I'm 70, maybe I'll, or his, is that right? Or did somebody say Larry King had kids when he was in late 70s? I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know if you can freeze sperm. I don't know any of that. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to have more kids later down the road. I will tell you, though, it does feel easier the second time, but my house does feel a lot smaller. It's like a lot of people. And also, this is maybe not, this is I think is important. When you're running a business, when a major life event happens, a birth or a death or someone's sick or any of that, family is always around and it's extremely stressful. Like maybe more, like when I got home from the hospital with my wife, we were like, we made it. Like we're here, baby's safe, mama's safe. Who cares about dad? And then it was like nice and peaceful. And then when family started coming over, it was like chaotic. So that's tough. Luckily, I have stuff planned ahead and yeah, it is what it is.
Let's see. Andre has a quick question.
Yep.
When we talk about sales per day, do you
Yep.
count multi-quantity items as one sale as opposed to counting each item as a transaction?
I
item?
counted items per day as in the actual number of items sold, not orders per day. So that's why it's a bit deceiving. Like, as an example, on my whatnot, I think it shows around 60,000 items sold. I have two accounts. One account shows 7,000 sold. The other account shows 53,000 sold. That's just the number of orders. Number of items, though, it's a lot because a lot of my orders sometimes have 20 items in them. So we're talking potentially, I would guess around 400,000 sales so far on Whatnot if you count all the individual items. But and that's how I count it because I use my average sale price based on how many items sold. That's how I do my buying. That's how I do my accounting, is based on the whole number of items. Also, at the end of the year, they ask you a whole bunch of questions about your business. And when you're doing your taxes, it's nice to know how many actual items because it makes it easier to figure out cost of goods. So I don't go by orders personally. I go by number of items. So as an example for Andre, I sell 2,000 items a week, but I don't look at it as in how many packages. Kind of, but I'm more looking at it as how many actual items sold. That's a good question.
There is kind of a random question.
Yeah.
From Forgot My Cup. They say, hey, Chris, do you have an account on OfferUp? I was contacted by someone pretending to be you on OfferUp.
Yeah, there's a lot of people pretending to be me. So just be careful. I really only am on Instagram and YouTube and now TikTok. But that's not me. I have an OfferUp account, but I won't ask you guys for money. I don't do any crypto. Don't send me money. That's not me. I have a Patreon group that you guys can join with Facebook, on Facebook and on Patreon. But I'm not going to ask for your credit card information or social or any of that. And there's been quite a few scams out there pretending to be different influencers. So just make sure that it has a check mark and it's just the name Daily Refinement. But I'm never going to ask you guys for money. So please let me know if you see those and report those as spam.
I think you asked people how many kids they have.
Yeah.
People are saying that they have quite a few kids. 2 kids. It seems to range from like 2 to like 5 kids.
So 2 to 5 kids. That's intense. I'm good. 2 is enough. There's a lot. I heard this thing that I really love. You guys ready? I've been taking this toddler training called like Little People Big Feelings or Little Big Feelings. I'm not sure the name. If you guys know the name of the course, please put it in there. I think it's really stupid when people say, why do you buy information when it's free? Because it's easier. So I bought the course on how to raise a toddler, and it's so much easier. Instead of watching 100 videos on YouTube, I just took one course. It took like 5 hours, and now I know like a toddler cannot learn information while they are angry. So like if they're throwing a fit, it's not like, hey, let me teach you about what's right and wrong right now. They're not listening. They're throwing something at you, right? And the example is when this kid pushes a plate off of the table, it shatters, and the dad gets super angry. And the kid was being ignored by the dad and finally got a reaction by pushing the plate off. And so what the kid did after the dad gave that reaction was he pushed another plate off the table. And so it made me realize, okay, you want to reinforce positive behavior and ignore negative behavior. I forgot the point of this, sorry. But I'm just saying the little big feelings.
Like the information was all in one course as opposed to like.
The information was all in one course, but I had a point before that. Sorry, I forgot.
Okay.
What was people were saying, let's
2
see.
to 5 kids. But 2.
I
is
can't
good for
remember
you.
my point. 2 is good for me, but I think that there is obvious. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. Okay, in the course, there's something called a 10-minute miracle. All right, everybody cool? Maybe pause the video and write this one down because it's a really good nugget. So in 10 minutes of uninterrupted time, no phone, no distractions with your kid, you can share or create one moment, one teachable thing, like you're teaching your kids the ABCs. 10 minutes of really paying attention and trying to do it, they're going to actually learn something. My daughter goes to an all Cantonese daycare, so she speaks Cantonese. Like my baby is now surpassing me. I was trying to keep up with her, but she's learning really fast. But 10 minutes of paying attention to her, I think has really helped me, one, learn the second language, two, spend time with her and bond with her. But I think the same thing applies with everything. With reselling, how many people are actually spending 10 minutes undistracted trying to learn something? Pretty much every single problem in your resale business can be solved in 10 minutes. Any kind of scammer, any kind of printer issue, any kind of supply thing. If you're like, hey, I don't know where I can source Rolexes, right? And with 10 minutes of research, you can find out. Like Most of them are sold through consignment shops or maybe an authorized dealer, or maybe there are certain ways that you can get it. You would learn that in literally just 10 minutes. So a lot of people will post up in our Facebook group like, "Hey, is this TLC shirt worth anything?" Right? And this TLC shirt is worth $1,000. If you did 2 minutes of research, you would see some souls that were that high. But this person didn't do as much research and they just posted it and saying, "Is this worth anything?" That's like the laziest way to approach anything, and you're not going to really learn anything unless you spend 10 minutes looking up something. So if every single day you spend 10 minutes looking up, is Vineyard Vines valuable? What is Vineyard Vines? Is it related to Martha Stewart? Is it a clothing line? Do they make other things? You do that every single day, and over the course of a year, you learn a lot. The difference between comprehension between my newborn and my 2-year-old and me is so crazy. Like a newborn, apparently they can only see a few inches in front of them. They can only recognize a couple colors. They don't know anything. And Natalie is 2 years old, but she can't ask any questions. She just says, "More milk." That's like she can now do 4 sentences like, "Daddy, more milk, please." But it's not a question. It's like she can only ask commands. So when I hear resellers like Gucci, 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 they don't know how to ask a question yet. They're still infants in the new seller world. They don't. The next question would be, "Where do I get it?" Right? But that's like I think a 4-year-old reseller would start to learn how to ask questions, and they could be like, "Oh, there's outlets." If you go to a Gucci store, you can get a card from one of the people that works there, and they'll text you or email you when stuff comes in. But I hear a lot of people like, "Where do I get it? Where do I get it?" And that's like a 4-year-old. But then once you start to progress, you start to ask more questions, learn more things. But it's great. Looking at my 2-year-old and my newborn, it's just interesting. Like I think raising kids is so interesting because you get to essentially hang out with a super duper beginner. Like they've literally never seen ice cream before. You show them an ice cream, their mind is blown, right? At our wedding, we had a 2-year-old come. The 2-year-old had never seen ice cream before, right? And the 2-year-old got the ice cream. He didn't know what it was, so he gave it to his mom. He's like, I don't know what this is. Here you go, mom. And the mom was like, "No, this is something you like. You're supposed to like ice cream." And he didn't know. So it's like that's how a lot of people are with reselling. It takes time. It takes experience. And I don't know if you can teach that. So one more lesson from the nurse. So I think the more experienced nurses have the better shifts. So they work during the day. The less experienced nurses work at night, the crappier hours. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., that's like a newer nurse. So we had a nurse come in with training. And the first day the baby sleeps all day. Second day, they're a nightmare. They're like, I don't know why it's called the witching hour, but basically the baby cries the entire day. So the nurse came in and said, "Hey, if you guys need a break, which it looks like you do, we'll take the baby to the nursery for 2 hours, and you guys can sleep for 2 hours." And I have this new trainee girl, and she gets to see what it's like to have a baby. So anyway, we were like frazzled the second day. Nurse came in, the senior nurse came in with the trainee, took the baby for 2 hours, came back. The new nurse looked just as frazzled as we were after only 2 hours of being with the baby. She has no kids, no experience with baby. She's only been on staff for two weeks. New grad, 2 weeks of experience. She knows everything from nursing school, but like no experience, never had kids, no idea. Didn't know what to expect. Versus the older, and I like to say saltier, the older, saltier nurses, like they wouldn't be frazzled. Like a baby could cry nonstop, and they would do a checklist to see if there was anything wrong, and they would just be calm and confident about it. And I gave the example. I remember this from 2 years ago. When we were trying to put clothes on Natalie for the first time, we were being like really gingerly putting clothes on. Took like 5 minutes to put her shirt on the first time. And the nurse just rolled her eyes and was like, first time parents. Like, but we don't know. We have no idea how fragile the baby is, right? And so that older, more experienced nurse would know what to do if there was something wrong. There wasn't anything wrong. But like later, when we were doing it again, one of the nurses said, "Oh, if you use the elbows and the knees as like leverage points, it's easier to put their clothes on." And I was like, wow, that's so much more useful than rolling your eyes. So it's like thinking about being useful. And I feel like try not to do things so that we're so burned out that we're like that. I don't know what that's called when it's like that. But again, a bunch of people this morning were telling me you want the old salty nurse. In case something happens, they know what to do. So do you guys want the old salty nurse or do you want the brand new college grad? No experience, but they're ready to get their hands dirty.
Regarding like popularity in names, like
Yeah.
all of a sudden everyone like likes the same name.
Yeah.
TA was saying sometimes it's based on pop culture. For
Mm.
example, Twilight made older names more popular, like Esme and Jasper, and so maybe popularity is.
I
in
think
pop culture.
what's that name? There's a really popular name that's like that. Somebody will put it in the chat that just like came out of nowhere and became the most popular name. And it's a more old school name.
People are saying they'd rather have the salty old. name.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Right? So some people think that like Tech in the group is this like salty old guy. I thought he was like 60 years old too. When I met him, I was like, this guy's got to be 60 years old. He knows everything. But he just has so much experience, right? So he does not give he never rolls his eyes, by the way. So that kind of like salty nurse response, he doesn't really do that. Somebody will be like, what happens if I open what happens if a customer says they never got it, but tracking shows delivered? We get that question every single day. You just upload the tracking and you're covered by eBay seller protection, right? But he never rolls his eyes and is like, oh, another new reseller. He doesn't do that. He just knows that they don't know that yet. So it's important to try to stay. It's okay if you're salty, but maybe just pretend like you're not.
Let's see. Oh, Barb C says, "How is Natalie with her new baby?"
Natalie's, you guys want to see? Let's see. So Natalie, it was interesting because she, let's see. We've been preparing her because there's books like on you're going to be a big sister. So that's Natalie meeting him for the first time. It's pretty cute.
Her hair is cut short. How cute.
Yep. Yeah, she has the bang haircut. But so far, Natalie's been taking well to it. We know that you don't want to say things like, "Oh, sorry, you're not important any more than you once here." So like you got to be careful. That's why I like the 10-minute miracle thing. So this morning before I left, I was nice to spend 10 minutes with Natalie, talking to her, hanging out with her, and learning something. So I want to do that as many times as possible while I'm taking time off. And so far, she likes the baby. Sometimes, though, I can tell she's feeling like she's not getting the attention that she used to. So during those times, sometimes Natalie talks louder than normal. Like, hey, so yeah, you got to be cognizant of that. It's difficult. Also, this time, no epidural for my wife, so I think she's going to recover faster, and that seems to be the case. The first time was more damage, I think, and took longer to recover. They are really small people in the beginning. But yeah, mama is healthy, baby is healthy. I can't ask for any more. Very blessed. And I guess one more thought before we get into questions. When we were having the baby, there was I didn't know what a midwife was. I didn't realize a midwife is a nurse. And our midwife delivered the baby. So she delivered the baby and she did the stitches afterward. She did everything. So when the baby was about to be born, there were 8 people in the room. So my wife's eyes were closed, but then I saw all these people come in. I'm like, oh man, it must be go time. And then when the delivery looked normal, 6 people left. So it was just the midwife and one more nurse during pretty much all of it because it was a normal delivery. But it's nice that like in case something happened, there's all those people there that are there for emergencies. There are 2 NICU nurses there, like a whole bunch of things for that purpose. And then we joined a group 3 weeks ago of all women that were 36 weeks. It was intense. A room of 10 women and their partners, 36 weeks, right? And pretty much, I think 9 of the 10 had babies the same day as us or the day before. So everyone, and I think do you guys think that thinking really works? Because the doctor said a perfectly baked cookie is 39 weeks. That's what the doctor said. And almost every baby was born at 39 weeks. So is that because she said that and everyone started thinking that and then it just happened? But our midwife was only in, she delivered the baby and left immediately to deliver another baby. So our baby was born at 10:13, the next one was 10:19, and the next one was 10:29 or something. It was like three babies from the same meeting in the same half an hour. It was just so freaking intense. But that's hey, what room are you in? They were on a Discord, but we didn't meet up with any of the other parents. But it was intense meeting people that are in that exact situation. But I think that would be funny if we did a Resar meetup and they're like, oh, what week are you? Oh, I'm 18 weeks. I just barely learned how to take photographs for the first time. Oh, cool. Me too. Like that would be interesting. Like I'm in my like 500th week of doing this. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Be funny. Cat one says, "Congrats. Most people I know, family and friends, have a minimum of 3 kids. I married a guy who had 3 kids, and we had one more. For some reason, once you can juggle 2, it's nothing to add more."
Yeah, no, that does make sense to me because there's it just I learned a lot from the first time. So this time was a way, 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 way less stressful. I got to write some more ideas in my journal. But yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot. Let's see if I have any other notes from it. Yeah, if it's not charted, it didn't happen, really was good for me. I like that thought. So I like how nurses chart everything. I didn't even notice that the first time. So the first time when we had Natalie, I didn't notice they were writing down every single thing. This time it was like how many diapers, mama, medication. They didn't write anything down in regards to me. And I feel like it's weird they don't offer the dad anything. Like it's like one of my like they'll bring her breakfast and lunch, but like aren't they billing the insurance company? Why aren't they like, hey dad, do you want a turkey sandwich too? And then bill it to the thing. They don't even ask. I feel like that's weird. It's like they I understand it's not about me. I totally get that. It's just weird that they don't offer. Cause like I don't I find that that's unusual. Maybe in your state they do offer. I had to go out and get my own food every single time, which I thought was weird, since they're already bringing up one food. I don't know, but at least I got a bed. This time was better. Last time sleeping on a chair sucked.
Lisa P says, "Tell Chris he's been cracking me up this morning with baby brain lack of sleep."
I know. I hope I don't seem too out of it, but didn't get much sleep, and I expect it to be like that for the next couple of weeks, like last time. We're essentially alternating. Essentially, my wife will wake up, feed the baby, then once he's fed, she hands him to me, and she tries to take a nap. That's how we've been doing it. So, 'cause I'm doing the burping, and then I call it putting the baby away, changing the diaper. Also, I have changed thousands of diapers, so it was like not too difficult, except for on a newborns are just way smaller. So, and Natalie is officially potty trained, so that only took a couple of days.
Wow.
Potty training was not as hard as I thought, but I think it's because we did a lot of front research. Like Tech and Sports always recommends do all your research first. So we did all this homework on how to potty train, and then when we were doing it, we both took off 2 days, and we just stared at my daughter all day, waiting for her. Like if she makes a weird movement, she has to go, and we'll take her to the toilet. And that was it was interesting. But we basically caught all of them except for one each day. And I feel like towards the end, she was kind of purposely peeing when we weren't paying attention. So, but that went away. Now she's potty trained. Also, this year is a little weird. Our childcare usually has 1 week off for spring break, 1 week off for fall break. This year, they're doing 2 weeks off for spring break and no fall break. So they're in Hawaii. So we've got both babies for 16 days, which is going to be intense. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's really a lot, guys, trying to figure out how to balance all this stuff. I'm glad that I have a family now because I can relate to a lot more people in the group. Also, childcare for us, all in, it's like $3,500 a month. That's a lot. So thinking about this is going to sound so wild. Between housing and childcare, that's 80 to 90% of my bills. Just mentally, that's insane. Like basically all my bills are housing or childcare. At this point, yeah, I basically don't want any. When you sell stuff all day, you don't want any of it. Like
Yeah.
I'm so like I love the Fitbit, but I wish it was solar powered. My G-Shock is solar powered, and I don't have to plug it in or anything. And I wish they had a Fitbit that was solar powered. I don't want to use the Garmin one because I don't run ultra marathons, so I don't need that. I just would want one that doesn't need to be charged. That would make my life easier. But after selling thousands of things every week, I don't want anything. So my bills are really, really low. Basically, food, childcare, housing in California, and insurance.
Side gig says, I am in my second trimester of reselling.
Okay.
Not a beginner, but not an expert.
I love it. So if you're in the middle trimester of reselling, okay, I got this excellent analogy. Okay, so I now realize, because I just posted some shorts, and I've been loving the comments I've been getting from shorts, because it's a different audience. And people are saying, oh, wow, it seems like the shipping, listing, photography is the same, customer service for any category. And I was like, finally, somebody gets it. The shipping, photography, listing, and customer service is the same for almost every category. It takes about 2 minutes for all those processes. The only part that's different is your product research and your pricing. Those are the two things that are different in every category. So it's like, once you figure out the basics, you're no longer in second trimester, right? You've had the baby. Once you know how to do the shipping, listing, photography, customer service. After that, all you're doing is learning about different products in the market. So I text Tech and Sports every day. All we talk about is products and customers. That's it. Like, what do our customers want? How do we get more products? We don't need to ask each other how to do photography or shipping or customer service. We already do that part. So it's just literally, how can we learn about more stuff, how to sell it, what do customers want, and yeah, I now think customer service is the most important thing. I changed my mind. I thought it was sales skill, but now I think it's customer service.
Why do you think that?
So I think it's customer service because you are your own customer. So like, you want to take care of yourself physically, mentally, your health, your diet. So you're your own customer. So you need to figure out what you want. Then after you take care of yourself, I think you should take care of your family. What does your family want? I asked my wife last time she struggled a bit after pregnancy, which is normal. So this time around, I was like, I'm talking to all her friends. I'm like, can you guys be more supportive? Can you guys go to lunch more? Can you guys talk more? I'm doing more. I'm listening more. Last time, I was telling Holly, you can't input information while you're emotional, right? So if my wife's having a bad day, there's no reason for me to say like, hey, did you try this? Did you try A, B, C, D, and E? I read an article, 5 ways to be happier after having a baby. None of that would work because it doesn't matter. She's being emotional. She needs support, not answers. So like, that's your customer right there. Your wife, your partner is your customer. You need to listen to what your customer wants, not what, they don't care what you think. Same with, I'm on YouTube right now. You're my customer. So like, I'm trying to give you guys relevant information to building your resale business, running a business, working for yourself, having some staff. I'm trying to give you guys my insights. You're my customer. When I'm selling something, I'm trying to think of the best value I can for them. So I think it's only customers. If you're like obsessed with making your customers happy, you'll probably be fine because you're a customer, your family's a part, friends, customers. Everybody is just a customer. So including yourself. That's why I think customer service is more important than sales because you really, really understand what your customer needs. You don't need to say anything. So it's just offering support is literally just what the person needs.
Flippin' while you slip into Disney says, do
Ooh.
you feel like there are way too many resellers now after COVID? It seems like I run into so many resellers at Walmart looking for clearance items to resell.
I think it's more and more and more and more than ever because most people don't want a real job and they want to work 2 to 4 hours a day and pay the bills. And reselling is one of those occupations where you could do that. I don't think that it's really realistic to work 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day and make a full-time living, but there's people that do 2 to 4 hours a day and make $2,000 a month, $500 to $2,000 a month. And if they're on government assistance or they live at home or they live in a state where it's cheaper to live and they don't own a car and they don't have any possessions and don't do anything for fun, 2 grand you can get by. A lot of people are also like live in a more expensive area and they're just going into debt a little bit, 500 to 1,000 a month, while they resell. What was the question?
Are there too many resellers?
Oh yeah, there are too many resellers. So no, there's not, because, and I'm not scared to share secrets because most people are too lazy to get to know their customer. If you have an intimate knowledge of your customer, you can do anything. But most people are way too lazy to do that. They just say, "Give me the answer. Tell me what you want." But sometimes people don't know what they want. So you have to just really get to know them better. Like the suppliers that I've been getting for shoes, as an example, I have been getting to know them for now years. So I kind of know what they're looking for, and they've been getting to know me for years, so they kind of know what I'm looking for. So as I've been doing more stuff, if you guys have watched me evolve since 2017, I've become more and more and more customer centered. Those of you in the chat, definitely chime in. Since 2017 Chris versus 2023 Chris, I care way more about the customer now. Like, I pretty much offer free returns on everything. I have wholesale on my website. I have free returns. I have that Facebook group with Tech and Sports. We have free returns. You're not happy for any reason, give you all your money back. Whatnot, I don't advertise that, but if somebody's really unhappy, I'll give them their money back. It doesn't, on the website, there's no returns, no exchanges, no refunds, but I'll still give you a refund if for some reason you're not happy with the item completely, or for any reason, it doesn't matter. I'm really interested in what the customers want. And now I ask way more questions with my wife, and my relationship has been way better. She really doesn't care what my opinion is. So there's really no point in even talking about that because there's nothing to do. She's never like, I'm wondering what my husband thinks about this. It's not really, I don't think anybody is wired like that. Do you guys ever think, I want to buy this, but I wonder how the seller feels? Like, not really.
South Carolina says, prove that Tech isn't operating at a loss and doesn't use eBay as a tax write-off, one of his multiple businesses, right? Or do I have to pay for that?
He's making millions of dollars on eBay. So the easy way to do that is to sort his store from high to low. And he's very open about his cost of goods being $4. So if you guys just do the math, like his store is available. You'll be able to see that his store is smaller now because he's retiring, but I don't know, buying stuff for $4 and selling it for 30. I mean, just do the math over hundreds of thousands of times. You know, it's not a tax write-off. It's actually more of a hobby because he has 10 other businesses and 50 employees. He's a customer-focused individual as well. His kid, like, okay, this is maybe sharing too much information about him, but he asked his kid what his kid thinks of him, and his kid said, "You're the GOAT. You're the best dad ever." So, like, I don't know, what is that worth? What is that worth? And did he just earn that working 24/7, or do you think he put some work into that? Like, I played sports growing up. My parents did the best they could, but I always got to the tournament 5 minutes or 10 minutes before it started. My parents are busy. They both worked full time, so getting me on time to the thing was all the best they could do. But he arrived like 3-4 hours before the baseball game started. His kid was like warmed up in the best state of mind he could be before he started the baseball game. Very different experience than for me, always being in a rush. And my parents were very transactional, like, hey, we only love you if you do well on this test. It was transactional, like, you do this and then we'll love you. You don't get GOAT status for doing that. You get GOAT status by asking your kid, what do you need? And then you provide that. So it's I don't know. It's a lot of people say, like, I don't know. I would argue he's one of the happiest people I've ever met, even though it sounds like he works a lot. He does work a lot, but number one dad, I mean, how can you put a price on that?
Bold Finds.
Bold
says,
Finds, what's up?
Chris, I'm timing my photo and listing process tomorrow for the clothing. Then we'll be seeking advice on how to speed it up.
I love it. So James, everybody follow Bold Finds in the UK. Also, James, I think Simon's going to be visiting the first week of May, and that's going to be cool. So I want to visit the UK again. I love the UK. I would love to go there. I went to a coffee shop called Gale's, and I really liked it. That was like one of my favorite memories in life. So I'd like to go to that coffee shop again, hang out with like 10 UK sellers. But James is going to time his photography process and let us know how long it takes so we can improve it. And that's what I want to do during the live event here. I just want to have 10 people come here. We'll photograph items on the floor using an ELPH 180 camera together. Take 30 sets of photos, list all 30 items, put all 30 items away. I want to do that in person live. I actually don't even care about anything else other than that part. Because that's like all these crazy tips that people talk about online, but they don't know how to do the basics. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to be focused on. I'm glad Bold Finds is doing that. Everybody follow James in the UK. He's also running our UK focused call. We have about 300 members in the group that are in the UK. So that's been awesome. Shout out to Mel back from Burnout. She's doing our Australia call. So our event is worldwide. I would love to start a Germany call. So whoever's listening right now in Germany, let me know because Berlin was one of my favorite cities I've ever visited, and that would be. I actually would rather go to Berlin than London, but I had a great experience in London too. But Berlin was amazing. That city is so cool. If you guys have a chance to go, I would live there in a heartbeat. Berlin was so cool, but I don't speak German, so I had to figure out. I had the best pho I've ever had in my life in Berlin,
Really?
and I live here. It was like that was wild, and also the best Middle Eastern food. So yeah, it was wild. And we visited in an internment camp. Sorry, this goes all over the place. But when we visited the internment camp, that like blew my mind. There's like that is part of our human existence. That existed. So we did that and also had pho. So like and falafel like on the same day. So it's like this crazy place. And Berlin's also a really young city, in my opinion. It feels young. I mean, I live in the Bay Area. San Francisco does not feel young to me. Oakland does more so. But yeah, I feel like Berlin feels really, really young. And also Vietnam, which I was supposed to go to my honeymoon, but Rachel went to Vietnam. It feels like a young city to me.
Kelly,
Yeah, we gotta go.
we gotta go.
No. She
okay.
said
Oh,
we
we
gotta
have
we
to
gotta
go
go to
there.
Vietnam.
Got it. Kelly Webb says, congratulations. I was
Thank you.
wondering how far away do you have to travel to get to your rental unit from home? Will you be close by to the baby if you are needed?
Yeah, I'm only 2 miles away. So I purposely picked this spot because it's close. I pay a little bit more so that I can be 2 minutes away from home. Also, today, grandma is there and all the aunties. So I don't have to be there today. I'm going to plan ahead. But of course, sometimes my wife wants them to all go away just so I can be there with her. Because even though it's not COVID anymore, she didn't have any family there except for me. So I don't know if you guys have that same experience, but she's like, they would just annoy me if they were in the delivery room. So just you. So we did the same for both times, even though this time the restrictions are a lot lighter.
Mandy says emotions can be from hormone changes. A lot
Yes.
of times the only way to help is just be supportive until those balance.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think that is the same for everyone. Everyone just wants what they want. They don't. Your opinion is not necessary.
Yep, and then just a lot of people still congratulate.
Thank you. Let's see if we had any. I don't know if I. Yeah, that's the baby for people who didn't see the first time. That's the baby. That's Henry. And
Henry.
also, I noticed my iPhone camera is a lot better now than last time. So the baby picture looks better than Natalie's picture.
Cute.
But that's the baby. The baby is a couple days old now, and we're doing taking care of babies again, the course, and so essentially in the beginning your baby's got to switch. So basically the baby is asleep during the day and is up all night driving us crazy. So you have to slowly flip that, and that course is really useful. And I don't really care that she supported Trump. Who cares? Like, for some reason, this lady's being canceled because she supports Trump, and it doesn't matter. She has good baby information. I don't care about her political affiliation. Like, she teaches you how to have your baby sleep through the night. Her personal life does not matter to me. I like that she gives these sample schedules on what to do, and it inspires me to make the same kind of training for babies. By babies, I mean resellers. Like the app. Guys, this app is so sick. It's called Huckleberry, and it shows like when the baby sleeps, when it feeds, when it poops, when it pees, all your doctor's appointments. Is your baby growing normally? It's like insanely useful. And I want to make the same thing for reselling. How much time are you shipping, listing, photographing, putting things away, sourcing, leveling up, using an accountability partner? Also, I maybe need some suggestions on this. So like, I'd like my wife to have more personal time this time. So I'm working on trying to figure out how she can do that. It's hard though in the first, before the baby can bottle feed, she needs to be there every time. So when the baby starts to bottle feed, I want to somehow take over and let her have more time to herself so she can be better. Because like, it's pretty intense in the beginning. And I've been going to the gym in the morning and I feel a lot better getting out all the tension in the morning before I start my crazy day. So, but I think I'm going to be basically mostly off for like 3 or 4 months. My wife has 4 months off for maternity. It's not all paid, but 4 months off before she goes back.
So what does that mean to you, like being off from?
Oh, is that a question? So essentially, what I have to do is I have to become friends again with the post office because they were so annoyed at the volume. Even though I had that commercial pickup guy, he hated coming here. He's like, "You and this floral shop are so annoying. You have so many packages," and I don't get why. I don't. I was like, I wanted to grease him and tip him. Like I think that was a way to do it, but I was trying to feel him out, and he basically quit after the first month. And he's like, "I'm the only person in this area, and I don't want to pick up your packages." So I got to figure out that part, and then I need to figure out worst case scenario. I want to have somebody help me with taking the packages in. So right now, mostly off means I just come in and do the shipping. So I need to put all this in my car. It's like 2 or 3 trips a day. The post office is 0.4 miles away from here. It's really close. And the distribution center is so close. So it only takes me about an hour to ship. So I come in, make sure that the shows are ready for the day. So I don't know if they can see over here. Let's move. I'm essentially sorting the pallets by sizes for shoes, and then I'll be doing the same thing for clothing. So all of these will get unloaded and separated by size, and then I'll be able to run it. So essentially, I'm going to come in and make sure the shows are ready, ship, and go home. Also, I have no desire to grow my company anymore. This is it. I think 2,000 items a week is already insane to me, and I don't want to do it any bigger because more people, more staff, more headaches. I like this amount. It's very manageable for me. I'm mainly just the janitor. We also got some dust mops. So I'll pull it over.
He's excited about the dust mops.
I got the dust mop. Somebody recommended I get these on Uline, and this thing is awesome. So like, it doesn't take me very long to mop the place, and the dust mop is really useful. So that was a good suggestion. Thank you for whoever recommended that. Yeah, it's really helped with the dust in here. You can see the dust from me getting on the floor and moving some stuff earlier, but yeah, clothing is really dusty, so I'm glad that we're using the dust mop. And then also, maybe you guys can help recommend a really good broom. I still want an old-fashioned broom because I think that's nice too. And then I don't know the cadence. These are hardwood floors, so I do want to mop, but I don't know how often I should mop. But I'm doing a dust mop every day. So last time I got some really good suggestions, like getting that from Uline was great. And for the most part, I'm gonna switch to bags. So I don't know if you guys can see, but I used to use all those USPS priority boxes, but now we're mainly using bags. So it's like, yeah, a little bit of both. They are more expensive than using USPS priority boxes, so it depends on your budget. But I'm really enjoying that. And also, people had suggested I put those in the USPS burlap sacks. They don't fit very well in the burlap sack. So I don't know. Right now, I'm just like assembly line. I don't know how to explain it. I basically throw them in the back of my car and then go to the post office and throw them into the distribution bin. So that's how I'm currently doing the shipping part. Also, it seems like there's a little bit more room in here, but I'm about to fill it up. Today, I'm receiving 28 pallets of stuff. So I will have a lot of stuff, like millions of dollars worth of inventory to sell. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Michael says, why are you using bags over the USPS box?
There's no tape. So I've actually mentioned that in a lot of videos. We were using like 5 rolls of tape a day, especially when we were at one point. I was selling 700 items a day, and 700 boxes a day was so much freaking tape. So I like it. No tape. Yeah, it takes time to build boxes. Also, the post office, they don't like picking up here, and they don't like dropping off the boxes either, because like that took forever. They'd basically just not show up, and I had to go get the boxes myself at the post office. So they would put whatever that notice is that says pick it up at the post office.
Oh,
So then I'd have to drive to the post office and put a pallet of boxes into my car and drive it over here. So these bags are nice. They come from Amazon. And basically all of my supplies are available at bit.ly/reseller supplies, and everything I buy off of Amazon. Although I'm not sharing where I get my bags, because last time I did that, all my bags sold out. So get your get your own bags. Get your own bags.
your own.
Yeah, the zipper bags that I really liked for my clothing, once I shared where it was, they sold out. So I don't want to get your own bags. Figure out what size bags you need, because I have different size bags. So yeah, don't copy me. Use boxes.
They're yours.
Yeah, no, that was like, it's like, yeah, I'll make a couple of dollars on affiliate, but then I don't have any bags. So it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Maybe just a couple more questions.
Yeah, let's take 2 more.
Okay. Royal Thomas says, how many children do you have, and how do you balance work and life?
So my schedule is really intense, but I have 2 kids. I have a 2-year-old and a newborn. And I'm going to do a day in the life, and I think that I'm just going to film it on my phone and have Christine edit it, because it's really intense. So I'm waking up like at 4:45 in the morning. Actually, I just changed to 4:50. 4:50 in the morning, I go to the gym, work out for about an hour, come back, do my morning call. So I do the mastermind group. There's like 2,800 people in that group. After that's done, I hang out with Natalie and my wife for about 45 minutes to an hour. I drive here. I have employees and contractors. So when I get here, I plan what's going to happen during the day. Then I also film YouTube videos. And we're actually a little bit ahead now. So I've got videos for at least a week moving forward. And that's how I was able to launch videos while I had the baby. So I'd like to get to the point where I'm at least 2 months ahead on content. And then when I go home, essentially, I don't use my cell phone. The main reason why I can get it all done is I don't use my cell phone, but my day does take a long time. My day takes 12. My day takes around 14 to 16 hours to get done. It's a lot. So I'm also in charge of, I'm a big fan of that book called Fair Play. And if you Google Fair Play cards, the cards are actually free on Google. So I have it in my list, but you can look up the website for free. And it separates the household tasks into 100 things you have to do: paying the bills, garbage, dinner. So of the 100 things, I do around 37 of them. So yeah, I do 37 of the 100 things, and my wife does 63 of them. So it's a team effort. We do a lot of stuff together, and it just takes a long time. My day starts at 4:50 in the morning, and I'm not done till like 8. Takes the whole day to do everything, and it's also 7 days a week. So it's hard because I want everything. I could take it easy a little bit, but then I wouldn't get a lot of the stuff that I'm looking for. So it just depends on what you want. I think that how I judge success is you getting what you want. So if you have 9 kids and you work part-time and you're happy with that, go for it. I mean, I'm not here to judge. I'm never going to say your way is different or better or my way is better. This is not a channel about me telling you guys how to do it. It's more about my own personal experience. But yeah, it takes a long time. My schedule, I talk about it in the morning every day on my morning call, and it's mostly the same, and it just takes a long time to get it all done.
Richard says, hi, Chris. I've been offering 20% off when I send offers to watchers.
Yep.
Lately, my offers have been timing out or no response.
Yep.
Should I increase it to 30%? Also, how did you handle the best offers handle best offers on eBay.
Okay, so it evolved, but the final version on eBay was auto accept. So I would get an offer that I considered acceptable, and it depended on the item. On an item I got for really cheap, maybe my acceptable offer was a little bit lower. I used to have auto decline, but I turned that off. So whatever I decided was my auto accept number, I counter offer that number no matter what. So for example, let's say it's $28.99. I'm offering an item. Somebody offers $13.99. I might counter offer $19.99 and just say, thank you for your offer. That's the best I can do. They offer me $15. I just counter offer back $19.99. That's the best I can do. Thank you. My offer to watcher was the same amount or a little bit less than the best offer I could accept. And then I didn't worry about it and moved on to the next item. So if I offered an item for $29, I'd probably be okay with 20 plus shipping. And then I just didn't worry about it, move on to the next one. If I really feel like it's not moving, of course, I can discount it to $15.99, $14.99. But a lot of times when I did that, I removed best offer. So if I feel like $19.99 is a good deal, and I'm going to accept that offer, but I really need to move my item for some reason, I might do $9.99 plus shipping, no best offer, and just let's get it out of here. But it's not worth it for me to accept an offer that's when it's already below what I want for the item. I'm just going to do buy it now. When I did the reseller Nirvana store, where I started from zero, I didn't use best offer because I didn't have time to wait for a good offer. I just made a good offer from the beginning. So items worth 30, 20 here. Items worth 18, $13 here. Because I didn't have time. If you have time, you have more space, more people, more resources, you can wait for all the money. In the beginning, though, I feel like you don't have a lot of time. You need that money back in and going back through the store. Should we just call it?
Yeah. I
Okay.
guess so.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep. We'll see you next Monday.
Bye.